Hi guys, this is Jennifer Utabe, and my presentation is on the effects of concussions in youth sports, basically looking at how they recover from them, how quickly or slowly they recover after encountering a concussion, and any possible future developmental problems that can occur with them. So, concussion rates in youth sports is on the rise from previous years, mainly due to the fact that it is more commonly known now the symptoms and the treatments for it. And because of this information, more and more studies are being done to understand how long it takes to recover from them and how it can possibly affect the development of our youth athletes. And specifically for my presentation, I'm looking into um, does one sport encounter more concussions than any other one? Do males or females get them more often than one another, or are they pretty even? And what is the recovery rate, or how do these athletes recover from having these concussions, and can possibly having a history of them affect these recovery rates? And Dr. Wu, who looks at white matter and structures in the brain using diffusion tenor imaging, stated that post injury, there's more white matter present in the athlete's brains. Actually, I don't. And according to Dr. Wu and his team, who look at white matter using diffusion tenor imaging, state that the athletes who incur these brain injuries do take a longer time to heal and recover, since they are adolescents and their brain is still developing, that the brain has to now either go back over and try and repair the damage that is already done, or if the damage that is done is in a specific area of the brain, it may be permanent and will not be reversed. So there is research out there that has a difference in opinion from that of Dr. Covison and Dr. Wu. Dr. Iverson did a study with a handful of athletes who had had two previous concussions, and he performed the same pre and post neurocognitive tests on these athletes that Dr. Covison did. But he found that there was no difference in recovery and response time by these athletes who had incurred their third concussion, whereas Dr. Covison had found that there was a difference in recovery time. So the research here is not yet definitive. We have had both negative and no correlations with a history of concussions, but for everyone to be aware that it is definitely a possibility, and everybody should be aware of that. So for the rest of the results, according to Shalmo and Jezel and Schatz, um, female soccer players did report the most concussions compared to male soccer, lacrosse, and rugby players. Since football is a mainly male-dominated sport, it could not really be compared to females, since we just don't have the number of females playing football as we do males. And because of that, like I said before, according to Dr. Wu, um, because all of these are youth and adolescent athletes, the brain is still developing. So whether it develops or it has to develop over these injuries or does not develop over them at all and remain permanent, it does affect the future of these athletes, or it can affect the future of these athletes. So, in conclusion, really more research needs to be done on the long-term effects of these athletes who have had previous concussions as adolescents. Unfortunately, I cannot use any of the NFL research because it is not published in scholarly journals yet. It is all on ESPN and CNN and all the major networks, but not yet in journals. So I could not use that information to back up and support my arguments that a history of concussions does affect have effects on the future and the development of athletes. And that's the end of my presentation. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a great winter break, and congrats to those graduating on Saturday. Woohoo!